Good morning, guys. Petra Williams here doing another fabulous Facebook Live. I decided to wear this beautiful dress and I realized it's quite short. I am wearing shorts underneath, like little shorts. I'm like, hopefully I'm not coming on to expose myself. This is not that kind of Facebook Live. So welcome, good morning. This is the Facebook Live 3. And today's topic is creating money, creating wealth from within. I'm giving these things different time slots to see what really works for people, because I really would like you to be on the Facebook Live, but it's also about finding a good time. The evenings don't work for me. I've got so much on. So yeah, just finding the time that works for both of us. Of course, I've got my little taco, my trusted Jack Russell, who's a bit scared today. I'm not sure if there's bad weather coming. He's a very sensitive soul. And so he's like, help. He's licking me to say, something's coming. Let me out. Stop it. Okay, that's enough. So, in the metric physical world, you hear this all the time, the spiritual world, that your external world is a direct reflection of your internal world. So the conditions outside do not matter. That's what Bashar says. It means they don't materialize, right? What the only thing that matters is your state of being, because that's what materializes. And so literally, what you notice out there is what your reality is, and your reality is driven by your beliefs. So if you believe that the world is a good place and full of kind and interesting people, then you will meet kind and interesting people. If you believe that the world is a bad place, how many times do I hear this? Because I've lived in Sydney for many years, and when I go anywhere else other than Sydney, I say, I'm from Sydney originally. And people will go, Sydney, it's so unfriendly. And I'm like, wow, that has not been my experience at all. I find people the most exuberant and fun and delightful. Even living in London, that was the case for me, And people are like, that's probably because of your personality. And I'm like, exactly the point. That's because I expect to meet interesting and kind people. I expect people to be nice to me. And they are. It's just the way it is. So I knew this with money. I was like, wow, the external world is reflecting what I believe internally. And I have always wanted to be rich. I have always wanted to have the means to travel the world, to invest in projects that I wanted to work in, to do the courses that I wanted to do, to learn from the teachers that I wanted to do, to live in luxury and beauty. And I was just not getting it. I cannot tell you how frustrated I was, because I had aligned with so many incredible things in my life. I mean, I won a trip, it's all expenses paid trip to Japan. I literally manifested a trip to Mount Everest. I manifested houses and people and meals. Like, how often have I gone to a cafe and someone, I go, wouldn't it be nice to have a asahi? Is that how you say it? I say occasionally, but asahi bowl. And I'll be like, that'd be great. And I swear, not even 5 minutes later, someone would go, hey, I bought this for my daughter and she doesn't want it, and I would get it. And I just wasn't getting the money thing right. And this is why I created the Conscious Millionaire Identity Shift. Because I was like, man, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one who wants to be wealthy, who desires being rich, who wants to go and live her truth out there, and wants to live a big life, but is not hacking it. And who's manifesting things in every area of their life except in the money space. And it was when I invested in another manifestation teacher who is phenomenal that I realized, well, I don't really believe it, right? I have such blockages around money that even though I say, yeah, it's abundance and it flows to me easily, I didn't really believe that. And I noticed in the way that I was, paying for things. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but this is what it is. And people say to me, are you a millionaire that you're running a Conscious Millionaire course? And I'm like, not yet. Like, psychologically I am, but not yet. And I have said, this is the way for me to become a millionaire. This is the way I'm saying to the world, I'm here to be a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. And I'm inviting the people who want to be on that journey with me, who equally own it, who want the support to change who they are, to become a multi-millionaire. This is who this course is for. So I openly say, psychologically, emotionally, I'm there, and now physically I'm working towards doing what I'm called to do to make that happen for me. So the very first step to creating wealth from within is wanting it. You have to want to get rich. You have to want to have a big life with millions of dollars. And even though you may feel a bit funky around that, maybe you might go, oh, it's not for me, I can't believe, but it really has to be a deep desire within. Because when you really want it, you will do what it takes to get it. And that's the key. And want it unapologetically. Own up to that. Say, that's what I want, right? And in my experience, when I say that, most people poo-poo it because they don't believe it's possible for themselves. So they don't want that for you. They're like, yeah, whatever. And then they poo-poo it. But man, when you have money, you have opportunity and you have choice and you can create great things. And I always say to my clients, they go, I want to make a big impact in the world. I'm like, get successful. Get successful. No one's listening to the ants walking on the street. There's billions of ants walking along the thing, and you've squashed them, who cares, right? But if there's a big-ass iguana in your way, you're going to be paying some attention, right? For those of you who don't know what an iguana is, it's a very, very big lizard. Like one of those prehistoric ones. So the first thing is you must desire to get rich. Hands down. So please, just for a moment, before I launch into the 4 ways of going about it, just take a moment and decide, yes, just yes, I want to be rich. Yes, I want to be wealthy. Yes, I want more money than I could possibly spend in my wildest dreams. Just allow yourself to want it. You don't have to share it with anyone else if you don't want to, but I encourage you to want it because that's the key. Now that you've decided that you want it and really want it, like that you will do what it takes to get it, this is when you need to start stepping into your self-awareness piece. The question is, why don't I already have it? So if I wanted, that's what I had to ask myself. I've wanted to be rich for as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, I watched Dallas on TV as a young kid in South Africa. And Dallas, I don't know if you guys remember, Dallas was all about, like, they all had ranches and it was just a lot of wealth. They had these massive houses and, beautiful cars and lavish lifestyles, and they were all screwing each other. Lots of affairs in that program. But I remember thinking, wow, that's what I want for myself. And then somehow the programming had just stopped me from believing that it was possible for me. So I really had to look at how I felt about money. Was it hard to make? Was it easy to make? Did I have to sell my soul for it? What else did I, how did I feel about rich people? Now, I love rich people. I love the abundance that they have, but sometimes I would be like, that's really great for them, but I could never do it. That was really what I was telling myself. I want that, but I don't think it's possible for me. And even though I appreciated that, it actually made me feel quite bad seeing that because I didn't think it was possible for me. And that's something I really had to notice. Do you believe that making money or attracting money is easy and natural, or do you think you need to slog? Do you need to be an Elon Musk and a Jeff Bezos that works 16 hours a day, that gives up your family and your life, and how do you think that money's going to come to you? That is massively important, because you need to know what your beliefs around that are to challenge them. The avoidance, and we talk about this in the Conscious Millionaire Identity Shift. We talk about the way the ego teaches you lessons that you need to overcome to get what you want. So the ego, in the course, we discuss the ego as your greatest friend, your greatest ally, who believes so much in your success and wants you to be so successful. It's training you to be successful by giving you challenges to overcome, so you can overcome those challenges to lean into your success, to lean into your wealth story. And so the key thing for me was avoidance. So I would avoid things that I didn't want to face. So I was like, I don't want to look at my money beliefs because they're bad. And I'd rather look at them because that means I'm bad. So I'd rather just avoid them, which was a tremendously bad strategy because I never dealt with that. And by not identifying them, I wasn't able to change them. So, and then they just kept running subconsciously, and then I got frustrated. And it was only truly when I went, let's sit down and let's look at that belief system that I have around money, that I was able to then go, start bringing that into consciousness. So when I went to the shops, for example, and I wanted to buy myself a large coffee for $6, but the small coffee was $5.50, and I was like, oh well, that's 50 cents more. I couldn't possibly spend another 50 cents on a coffee. I'd choose the small coffee, even though I wanted the large coffee. And until I had this awareness of my beliefs, did I notice the behaviors that it was driving. So really, start looking at how you feel about spending money, how you feel about circulating money. It really is. It's when you have to exchange money. So give money out. Listen to that voice in your head. If there's a bill that comes in, what's that? What are you saying to yourself? If there's something you want that's beyond your current means, that you can't afford, how do you feel about that? And really, that awareness piece is really fundamental. That is the starting platform. So many people skip that. Sadly, that is not an option, because you want to bring it out from the subconscious level into the conscious level so you can become aware of it and then practice being different, okay? So that's step number one. And we do some really great work around this, around the ego work. We see ego as our ally. I know many people in the spiritual space call the ego their worst enemy. For us, for me, in the course, we talk about the ego, how it's really helping us. Again, when you change your relationship to your ego, you see that anything that comes up is an opportunity for you to change, so you can align with what you want, and you don't resist it, and you can easily flow through that. So that is a beautiful part of the course that I love and that I've really designed there. Another thing to really look at is seeing money as a spiritual thing. Now, the religions of the past have really bastardized money, and it is carried right through. It is really an interesting one, particularly for women as well. You can't want wealth. That makes you a bad person. But money is spiritual. It's an energy like anything else. But it's also a gift from source. So the way I like to see it is, back in the day, people were trading goats and cows and chickens and seeds. And eventually, it must have been a pain in the ass. Imagine you were traveling and exploring different lands, and you got to a new land, and you're like, I'd like that piece of land over there to build my house on. And I'm like, right, 600 camel, 2 chickens, and 100 ducks. And you're like, where would I get that from? And I'm sure people were like, I'm sure there must be a better way of exchange. And someone came up with the concept of money. It's like, hey, here we go. Here's a level of exchange. The interesting thing to remember is that money doesn't actually exist. I mean, we don't have the physical money anymore, right? So it's all the energy that flows through what we call bank accounts. It's all that energy, and it just flows. It's energy. We don't even see it like we're represented with a number on the screen that doesn't actually exist. It's like electricity. Like it just flows. It's there. No one can actually hold electricity. No one knows how electricity is created, or electricity cannot be created or destroyed. No one knows how. So this energy of money is exactly the same thing. So if you have some resistance around wanting more money, you're like, oh, it's not spiritual, it makes me a bad person. Like you go, change that word money for energy. And you're like, I'd love more energy. I'd love more energy to flow into my life. I love to send energy out. You know, I'd love to give my kids energy. I'd love to give the people I hire energy. I'd love to travel and share my energy that way. See how it's different. It just has a totally different feel to it. And the thing is, when you start, what I also like to say is money is the way the universe loves you. You know, you came to this planet to be abundant. It is your birthright. Why would life make you come to this planet and then deny you the very thing that will allow you to live an abundant life? No one can tell me you don't need money in this world. This is a world based on money. It just is. It's not right or wrong. It just is, right? Like you need food to survive. You need air, food, and water to live. No one goes, no, I don't. I don't need air. I'm going to stop breathing and hold their nose. You'll die. It's just, you'll die. No, I don't need food. Don't tell me I don't need food. I can live without food. You can't live without food. You can't live without water. And the same thing in this lifetime, unless you want to live in a sustainable farm. Come on, guys, we don't want to get, because I've heard this all before. Oh, I could live sustainably and plant my own veggies. Sure, like, go for your life, but then you still have to pay for the water, right? And if you want to collect tank water, you still need to buy the tank, right? And the pipes, right? So you need water. So if you can see money as energy, literally, as a spiritual, the way the universe loves you, the way the universe likes to flow and circulate, then I encourage you to do that, because it changes everything. It changes how you feel about money. You know me and my notes. I've got so many notes. I love it. So once you've done that, once you've realized that, you know, money is a spiritual essence, a spiritual energy, then you do have to come to the work, right? So now I know what my beliefs around money are. I now know that it's energy. Now, how do I need to reprogram my mind to allow more money to flow to me? So the question is, what could I believe about money today to make it easier, bigger, bolder, and more daring? What would I have to believe about money today to make it easier, bigger, bolder, and more daring? And that's a really great question to ask yourself. So you can then start reprogramming your mind that money is easy. Money flows to me in increasing qualities. Having more money is the way the universe loves me. Money is easy to make. It's so much fun letting money in. And just really start practicing those things. Guys, it goes deeper than affirmations. I know there's a lot of people who go, just say affirmations. Now, affirmations can get rote, right? So they can you could easily just say them in a rote fashion. I love money, and money loves me. And then you're still penny pinching when you go, you don't want to spend an extra 50 cents on a coffee, right? It's really like, what do I need to believe about money to allow it to flow more easily into my life? And that is fundamental. It is fundamental. That is the question I want you to ask. What do I need to believe about money to allow it to be more easy, more daring, more bold, and more available? And then write that down. And then the fourth step, which is the most important step, because that's the embodiment step. So a lot of coaches, irrespective of their space, but particularly around the money space, don't embody, right? They talk the talk, but they don't actually walk the walk. You have to walk the walk. So now that you know that prosperity is your birthright, now that you know that being rich is a definite for you, success is definitely happening, like it's a done deal, you know that it's a done deal, how would you behave differently? How would you behave differently? Right? Would you invest in that cause that you want to invest in, that you know will give you more success, give you more wealth, give you more love? Or would you go, don't have the money for it? Would you start a business? If you knew success and wealth was a done deal, guaranteed, would you start that business without going, I'm too scared about the paycheck, I need the security? Would you buy that shirt, even though it's too expensive? Right? So really start looking at behaviors. So now that I believe that money is easy, money flows to me, it's bold, it's daring, it's there for me to use. Now that I know that to be true, what am I going to do? And this is something I say to my clients, and I love it, and I'm going to share it with you, because fear is very prevalent when it comes to money, particularly, and making investments around money, right? So what would happen if you stopped being afraid of yourself? What would happen if you stopped being afraid of yourself? If you stop being afraid of your own fears? Because at the end of the day, you're really just afraid of your own fears. It's you're afraid of yourself. You're afraid of your own mind, your own beliefs. What would happen if you just let that go? It is such a profound question. It is such a profound question to look into. So it's moving you from fear to faith. It's moving you from fear to faith. And so you say to yourself, if I really wanted to invest in the Conscious Millionaire Identity Shift course or workshop, and I fear that I don't have the money, or I fear that it's not going to work, what happens if I actually believed it did work? What happens if I believed that this investment is going to come back to me 100-fold? What if I believed that I could take this knowledge, embody it, make it work, and get rich? How else would I act? And then act that way. Sometimes you have to just act. You have to take the action and act that way. What have you got to lose? You've got nothing to lose. You've got a couple of grand to lose. So what? But staying the same is probably more costly than taking the action. The embodiment piece is the essential piece. And I can tell you that I catch myself sometimes. But I'm like, I'd really love this meal. I mean, for example, right? I'd really love this, but wow, it's way more than I would usually spend. Or my favorite one is I'd really love to go away and stay at this accommodation. I'd really love to have a place with a pool that's right on the beach. I can just walk out. It's like $600 a night. And I'm like, really? Is that really what I want to spend? And I'm like, I could stay at the places down the road, which is only $250. And so straight away, I'm assuming that the money won't show up. I'm telling the universe that I'm not worth it. And so I'm choosing something I don't actually want because I don't feel that I'm worthy of having that and that the money will show up for that. And so it's really one of those things where I have to be very conscious of the decisions I make and to act in faith that it is already done. It's the acting in faith that is essential. And this is what I've done with the Conscious Millionaire Identity Shift. I've created it so you don't just sit here and learn the theory. They'd just sit there and go, yeah, money's energy, it's so lovely, and it's changed our belief, and what would I have to believe? Am I right? Now, what would you have to believe? And now that you believe that, what would you do? Let's look at that and go and do that. Would you put a deposit down for a house? Would you put a deposit down for a car? Would you look at where you want to travel to? Would you actually resign? And go and do that now. And it's shit scary, right? It's only scary because we're so practiced in being who we are that to be someone different it's shit scary. It's the unknown. But it's not really, because you can always make a different decision. If you resign from your job because you're I'm going to start this business, and then all of a sudden go, this wasn't really what I expected, you can always go back to your job. Nothing's irreversible. But we think so, right? Because our belief system makes us believe so. Because if you don't believe that it's the end all and be all, then the belief can't exist. And this is what I've done with this workshop, making it like an Australia-New Zealand road show. I could have easily just have done it, run it down the road with a few women in it. But I was like, no. If I really believe that the universe hears me, that the universe sees me, that the universe responds to me, that I am the kind of person that runs national workshops, then I need to go and act that way. So I've very publicly done it. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it doesn't work, it's only because I don't have the faith. But I am acting in faith that it is done. And that's the difference. So decide. Do I have to put the Conscious Millionaire Identity Shift on a credit card? Do I have to borrow money if I have to? Right? And I always laugh when people say to me, I really have to do the deck. It's between doing the deck and doing the course. I'm like, which one is going to give you the knowledge and the embodiment of actually welcoming more money into your life? You think that the deck is a good investment, but there's no greater investment than investing in yourself. I have asked, with my podcast and my talk show, I've interviewed many successful people. When I say to them, what's the one key to success that you would say has given you a full and vibrant life? They all say investing in themselves. They all say investing in themselves. No one said to me, because I built the deck. It's deck, not dick. I know, right? I've been out in New Zealand for 15 years, but I still say it as deck. D-E-C-K, guys, not dick, deck. So I encourage you. It is my intention and my manifestation, my calling of 30, that I have sold out cities, 30 women per city. And I want you to be there. I want you to come and embody this work with me. So we can, with us women, when we become successful, our community, our family becomes successful, our community becomes successful, we spread that success and that wealth. And hands down, they've proven in African villages, this is why they focus on women getting rich, or abundant in those African villages, because they've noticed that they share the wealth, where men don't. They don't seem to share the wealth. Whatever reason, no judgment, that's just the way it is. So for us to become wealthy, be rich, we will share that abundance with others and allow them to become wealthy and rich, and they will share it with others, and that's how we pay it forward. My greatest message is always, as I have reiterated before, if you want to make an impact, make a success of yourself. Again, my favorite thing I'm going to ask you is, if you stop being afraid of yourself, what would you do? Right, that's it for today. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm excited to see you on the course. If you have any questions or comments, then please sing out. Otherwise, the link is in the description, and I'd love to see you there. All right, guys. Mwah. Ciao.